uses imperfect people to get his work done. He actually even uses sinful, terrible people to get his work done. He uses Nebuchadnezzar against the Israelites in the great captivity. So God's capable of using anybody he wants to get done what he wants to. Problem with Samson is that he is supposed to be on the Lord's side, and he is. He's an Israelite. He's a judge. The book of Hebrews says that he's a man of faith. But we see in this text that God uses an imperfect person to get his job done. So, verse 10, we see that Samson is determined to marry this Philistine woman. He goes down to the woman, and Samson prepared a feast there. I have that marked as a sin to confess because he would have been drinking at this feast. The word for drink in a wedding feast, there would have been alcohol there, wine for sure. So this was custom, and he would have been preparing alcohol. And this was definitely against the Nazarite vow. He is breaking. There were 3 vows a Nazarite made, and that was to avoid alcohol and even grapes, to make sure, even raisins, don't even get close to the stuff, dried stuff, anything that could make wine, stay away from it. And then the second was to not touch a dead body. We see that he did that in yesterday's reading when he touched the dead lion. And then 3, he was not to cut his hair. And that's the famous one that we all think about when we think about Samson. So Samson wastes his time and he puts this riddle to everybody as he's marrying this lady. He says, here's a riddle to you. And if you get it right, then I'll give you 30 changes of garments. In fact, he says, I'll give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. So, really, 2 outfit changes. He says, if you can't tell me what it is, then you will give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. And they said to him, put it to our riddle, put to us the riddle that we may hear it. And he said, out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. His encounter with the lion has inspired this wonderful poem. This person that is supposed to be saving Israel is coming up with these riddles and joking around with the enemy. They've tried to figure it out. They couldn't. It's a 7-day elaborate feast. On the 4th day of the feast, Samson's wife comes to her and says, or they say to Samson's wife, entice your husband to tell us what the riddle is. If you don't, we're going to burn you. We're going to burn your father's house with fire. So Samson's wife then wept over Samson day after day. She says, you only hate me. You don't love me. You've put a riddle on my people and you've not told me what it was. And Samson says, I've not told my mom and dad. And should I tell you? And she continued to weep until he had enough. And so he told her the riddle. And then she told the riddle to her people. And so her people sat down with Samson and said, what is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? And Samson is furious. He says, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle. And the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. Again, Samson is a very imperfect person. He is marrying somebody he should not. His even idea of women is misconstrued and not correct. He's wasting his time as this great deliverer, but in spite of all that, the Spirit of the Lord still rushes upon him. I'm so glad that God does not use only perfect people, because if he only used perfect people, nobody would be used. Only Jesus Christ was the perfect person. So the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon Samson, and he went down to Ashkelon, another of the king of the Philistines. Ashkelon was an important city in the Philistine area. And he kills 30 men of that town, and he takes their garments and he brings it to the people who had a riddle. And then he goes back angrily to his father's house. And Samson's wife then was given to his companion who had been his best man, because her dad thought Samson must hate her for him to run off in this way. I pray that's been a blessing and a help to you, and I'll see you in the next video.